Hello everyone, welcome to a new video. In this video we're going to do reading. We're gonna read Big Magic Summary by Elizabeth Gilbert. So, do you want to unleash your inner creativity, but are afraid that you're just not the creative type? Big Magic is written as a template with lessons on how to unleash our creativity. The chapter headings are bold words: courage, enchantment, permission, persistence, trust, and divinity. Each chapter contains inspirational stories to guide us towards the magic that is creativity, curiosity, love, wonder, and bravery. Author Elizabeth Gilbert believes that to call someone a creative person is laughably redundant. She believes that creativity is the hallmark of our species. We have a sense for it and a curiosity for it. In short, the divine nature of creativity resides within all of us. However, it's easy to forget this. Fear creeps in and we stray from our creative selves. And when this happens, we miss out on something magical, the chance to feel truly alive, in flow, and enchanted by life. Let's briefly explore realm of creativity, the magical realm of creativity, how ideas have an agency of their own, and how to engage in the creative process from a place of curiosity, playfulness, and love. Are you ready to unleash your inner ice skater? Before we explore the magic of creativity and how to tune out the voice of fear, let's remember what the essence of creativity is. Gilbert illustrates what creativity in action looks like by beginning the first chapter with a story about her friend Susan. Susan woke up on her 40th birthday with a feeling of restlessness. She hankered for a lighter, more joyous and creative sense, and she realized the last time she'd felt such feelings was decades ago, when she was a figure skater. So she followed her curiosity to see if she would still love skating as much as she had then. She hired a coach, bought a pair of skates, and went 3 mornings a week before dawn to skate. She didn't quit her job, sell her home, or train tirelessly to reach Olympic level skating standards. And the story doesn't end with her winning any championship medals. The point is, the story doesn't have to end in this manner. In fact, the story doesn't end at all because Susan is still figure skating. For Susan, skating remains the best way for her to find beauty and transcendence in her life. The message here is that anything is creative as long as it makes us appreciate the value of life, joy, and childlike wonder. To tap into the awe-like wonder, we need to reconnect to the magic of creativity. What if creativity is a force of enchantment? What if creativity isn't entirely human in its origins? Gilbert spent her life devoted to creativity, and along the way she developed a set of beliefs about how it works and how to work with it. She believes unapologetically that the creative process is a magical one. Our planet, it isn't just inhabited by animals, plants, bacteria, or viruses. It's also inhabited by ideas. Gilbert invites us to think of ideas as living separate life forms that have one impulse to be made manifest. It's only through our efforts that ideas can be escorted out of the ether and into the realm of the actual. Ideas seek us, inspire us, and ask us to bring them to life. When ideas come knocking, they will send us the universal physical and emotional signals of inspiration, the chills up our arms, the hair standing up on the back of our neck, the butterfly stomach. The idea will organize coincidences for us to stumble upon to keep us interested. Ideas keep us at night, distract us from the daily routine, and won't leave us until it has our full attention. Then, in a quiet moment, an idea will ask whether or not we want to work with it. Should we freely choose not to, the idea will move on. To convince us that the ideas have agency, Gilbert tells the story of an idea that jumped from her to her writing friend, Anne Patchett. Inspired by her husband's Brazilian roots, Gilbert had an idea for a novel set in the Amazon jungle. Despite being inspired and energized by the idea, she didn't commit to the story and continued with other projects. She left the idea unintended for too long, and over time she lost the inspiration to bring the concept to life. It was around this time that Gilbert made friends with writer Anne Patchett. Coincidentally, Patchett had begun to write a book set in the Amazon. The storyline was eerily similar to Gilbert's conceptualization. Both writers were amazed and to this day firmly believe that the idea migrated from Gilbert to Patchett, who was open to giving it life. The message here is that we need to permit ourselves to create despite our fears. Creativity is a path for the courage, not sorry. Creativity is a path for the courageous, not the fearless. Is there something creative you'd like to do but feel too afraid? Perhaps we fear what people will think of our creative efforts, or we tell ourselves that if our creative pursuits are not meaningful, impactful, or exceptional by conventional standards, then why create at all? Or we believe that creativity is a rare gift that only a select artistic few are born with. All too often, the voice of fear drowns out creativity's call to be expressed. To simply let go of our fears is easier said than done. In fact, it's impossible. If our goal is to live a fearless life, then we need to think twice. We need fear for obvious reasons of basic survival. Evolution did it well. To instill a fear reflex within us. Without it, Gilbert says that we'd lead one short, crazy, stupid life. So we need our fear to stay alive, but the trouble is that fear can also prevent us from feeling alive. When fear takes the driving seat in the realm of creative expression, we run into trouble. In a creative life, our passions coexist with our fears. If we want to do certain things, make interesting things, and bring our creative treasures to light, we need to learn to travel comfortably alongside our fears. How do we do this? Before taking a creative road trip, maybe have a conversation with fear. As Gilbert does, she starts by saying, "Dearest fear, creativity and I are about to go on a road trip together. I understand you'll be joining us because you always do, but understand this. Creativity and I are the only ones who will be making any decisions along the way. Sophie can be our backseat passenger, keep us company, and remind us what we deeply care about, but nothing more. However, he is not permitted to grab the wheel and take us down detours of self doubt. Let's explore 4 ways that Gilbert suggests to keep fear in check. Give yourself permission to no longer need permission. So, when it comes to your creative pursuit, have ever paused to think, who am I to do this? We often seek permission to express ourselves creatively rather than feel as we have the agency to tackle creative projects. Perhaps we fear that we may not be original enough. We worry that the ideas are just commonplace and therefore unworthy of creation. An inspiring writer once told Gilbert that she had an idea for a book, but was afraid that it had already been done, to which Gilbert replied, "Yes, it has already probably been done. Most things have already been done, but they have not been done by you." Gilbert's advice is to be less driven by originality and driven more by authenticity. Our creative pursuits also don't have to be deemed important by others, nor do we have to save the world with our creativity. Although it's very kind to want to help people, it doesn't have to be our sole creative motive. Gilbert once wrote a book to save herself. She wrote it to make sense of her journey through emotional confusion. Her primary motive was to write to figure herself out. In the process, she wrote a story that was a support for many people. The book is called Eat, Pray, Love. Despite its unintended success, she didn't write it to help others, but rather because she found it enjoyable and useful to contemplate and write about it. Ironically, by inadvertently pursuing what we love, this sometimes ends up helping others. Theologian Paul Tillich says, "There is no love which doesn't become help." Lastly, we need to believe we're entitled to create. You might shudder at the word, but we must process some level of entitlement to be free to explore. The poet David Whyte calls this kind of entitlement the arrogance of belonging. Make no mistake, an arrogance of belonging isn't about egotism or self absorption. In a strange way, it's the opposite. It's a divine force that would take us out of ourselves and allow us to engage more fully with life. So forego the need to get permission slip. The idea is to do whatever brings you to life, and in doing so, you'll bring a sense of lightness to the creative process. Unleash your trick scatter. Have you ever heard the saying that you're the company you keep? At some point in the creative process, we'll have to pick which company we want to keep. Which part of yourself do you want to nourish, cultivate, and bring into your being? Do you want to be the martyr or the trick setter? And what's the difference between the two? The martyr has a dark soul and rigid energy. On the other hand, the trickster has an energy that's light, sly, endlessly shape-shifting. A martyr believes that life is pain, while the trickster believes that life is interesting. Furthermore, a martyr believes that all truth shall be revealed through torment, whereas a trickster says, "I didn't come here to suffer." Gilbert believes creativity is born out of trickster energy. One such trickster is another Brené Brown. Brown comes from an academic background deeply entrenched in a martyrdom. Academia is a place where people labor and suffer for years. produce work that only a handful of people will ever read. When Brown looked at her work habits, she realized that she'd been writing from a dark, heavy place within herself. She realized that while writing was generally tricky for her, storytelling wasn't. Brown is a captivating storyteller and loves public speaking, so she figured out how to trick the process. While beginning work on one of her books, she wanted to try something new. She enlisted two trusted colleagues to sit and listen, and she took detailed notes while telling them stories about her book's subject. After each story, she'd grab the notes and run to the other room, shut the door, and write down exactly what she had just told them. She could capture the notes and transcribe her stories and her writings. Her writing was faster and better. She figured out how to trick the system and had a good time doing it. According to Gilbert, that's how trickster gets stuff done. However, engaging with our creative side isn't all fun and games. We need to remain devoted to our creative pursuit to keep the spark alive and make creativity our muse.